So with all this in mind, so far it all looks a bit similar for those of you who are familiar with Tuya Residential, which is our solution for the smart rental market. But I guess, Daniel, what do you think is the key difference, and why did we make a new product for home and real estate?
Well, the main thing is the business scenario and the target project. Target client portrait is different. Are different, and when it comes to the Tuya residential solution, actually this is for long-term rental scenario, such as corporate living, student housing, and some work accommodation, and so on. Well, the Tuya House and Real Estate, this solution is launched for the houses which are built for sale, which means Tuya Residential is for those built for rent, and Tuya House and Real is for those built for sale.
I think that's the best way to think about it, is that because we also still, people get confused about Tuya Residential and the hospitality solution, particularly those who want to do Airbnb. So in the simplest terms, you need to consider the difference with the use case for the product depends on how long the end user is going to be inside of that space for. So for the hospitality solution, think about your hotels or your Airbnbs, the guest is staying generally for a short period of time. So on the product end, for us, that looks a bit different because we don't provide a downloadable app and the end user cannot customize and reset all the devices in the property. For Tuya Residential, it's slightly different because we have 1 to 2 year rentals and beyond, in which that person living and renting the home does want a bit of control about how they manage the devices within the property. So they do have a downloadable app and they're able to customize a little bit more. But for the house and real estate solution, it's slightly different, is that in terms of the back end and the property management side, is that when I'm buying a house, I don't necessarily want the range of control available from my property manager. So for example, let's take smart locks. In a rental property, often it's common that we want to enable our property manager to have full control of all the door locks in that property because they technically own them and they're leasing out these, which means if there's guests coming into the property, it's common that there'll be a property manager at the front desk and the resident can either choose to use their own app or ask the property manager to access or open that door for them. Now, for this solution, it's slightly different because we're selling a house. So I don't want my construction company 10 years later having access to be the person who's managing my front door. Now, this is why we built a bit of a separate product, because the way the account structure and the user case works is slightly different compared to a rental scenario in which we do still want the physical home owner, i.e. the property company or property manager, to have a wider degree of control over those devices, not necessarily within, but associated with the home. So what we'll clear up now is a bit more of a specific example of the type of companies we have worked with already, and then also we'll continue to look to be working with. Now, just a quick note before we do this, guys, is that this solution actually isn't a completely newly launched one. This has been running in mostly the China and East Asian market for about 1 to 2 years now. But this launch that we're having today is to make an announcement of it's now finally available for international markets. So with that in mind, let's have a look at some of the companies, particularly in Europe, that we believe have a great opportunity to leverage this. So firstly, the most obvious one is real estate developers. So these are companies building and selling houses, and that they need a solution that they can manage the mass deployment of smart homes across 100 to 1,000 homes that they wish to sell. That's why we built the solution for them. Then also for home furnishing brands, which is a bit of an interesting case, is that they will also provide home design and services to those home builders, but often they will go and source, for example, smart home and lighting products. Here also, we now believe that instead of offering these products just for one home, they can complement the rest of their services and offer a full solution so that they can make more revenue by deploying across a wider range of homes. And then I guess for this one, I think it's quite interesting. So Daniel, for IoT hardware brands who are typically B2C, what do you think is the opportunity in this sector and in the real estate industry?
Yeah, you know, a lot of IoT hardware brands, they have cooperated with Tuya before to develop the smart devices, such as my switch and my sockets and my lighting, dimming, and so on. When the company they wanted to transform to the smart home, especially the whole house smart home scenarios. They find out they need to upgrade and expand their products and moods. So we provide OEM or ODM services, not only the software but also the hardware, to them to help them to transform the brand to the smart home solution providers.
I see. So the idea is that for me, if I'm a smart home brand, and currently I'm selling mostly through B2C channels, so for example, retail.
Yeah.
But how would I then get my products to be sold directly to, say, a real estate developer, and I can be their chosen partner? Would that be that I would then offer them not only my physical product, but I can say, I have a solution for you that you can integrate my products very easily into the whole home. So you don't need to pay for the guy we see on screen here, which might be the systems integrator, is because I can offer you a ready-made solution for the installation and management of all of my devices that I have.
Yes.
Okay.
In the past, there may be sales smart devices on online channels or offline channels such as retail stores or Amazon. But in this B2B solution, especially their business not based on the B2B modes, they launch or provide or offer a set of solutions, including software and hardware powered by Tuya. They can sell them to such as real estate companies and home builders to launch their smart solutions.
I see. It's interesting. And I think for the final one is for systems integrators. Now, my understanding of this one would be that I'm sure there's been many systems integrators who are potentially on the call, who have had requests in the past from the real estate developer to build a solution for integrating smart home products into the property. So I assume the logic here is that instead of using your human resource to have to build the solution as a custom solution for the real estate developer, actually we have all of this is ready for your business. Is that right?
Yes.
So I think what we can kind of highlight here is for you, if you're an SI, is that we have the solution to deploy all of these products ready, not only as an out-of-the-box SaaS solution that we'll show you today, but also API. So if you're looking to build the logic for a real estate developer to deploy a large number of smart homes and smart products, do take a look at this solution here. Secondly, also, and generally the way in which Tuya's business model typically works is that you have the opportunity not only to take the revenue from selling your software services, you can do also your own hardware brand. So I know in many cases, the SI will be able to take existing brands of hardware and then resell that for a slight margin. What we're trying to offer here, guys, is the opportunity, should you wish, to build your own brand of hardware and increase that margin you take in delivering solutions.